Hi, chat. Hello. How are you guys doing? We are on day 6 of the Banfield murder trial. I know Court TV calls it day 7, but they did the one-day jury selection, which we didn't do. And guys, I apologize for the delay, but Bon got dropped off, and me and Bon's owner were chopping it up, as the kids call it. So we had to work on that. So thank you very much. I apologize for the delay, but I appreciate you guys for sticking around. Where is my, oh, there we are. I'm going to assume yes. In that case, I'll have good transcription in 6 minutes. Well, thank you, Afix. I appreciate it, man. My ad on FetLife for a train partner is getting a lot of hits. Yes. I don't include, yes, poor Taco Joe is gone. It's so sad. Romeo says, I watched the trial today and wow, what a shit show. Well, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to all that here. So let me see here what's going on. Bon streamer, right. Well, we will have Bon probably a little bit later. She right now is running around with Clyde, and they are just going buck wild. Which is funny because they're just great friends. But yes, we have Bon all weekend, chat, so it's gonna be interesting. Oh, wow, something started here. Okay. Let's see here. Where are we at? Anyways, I assume we're gonna have Urban Dictionary to check chopping it up ourselves. We were chopping it up. I can't believe that my Sean would privilege his IR relationships over his parasocial ones. Unconscionable. Well, I had to. It's very important. Take care of the people you know and care about. Manny says the next week we get super duper new friends from the past. If that's a question, I don't get. I don't know. Don't know what your joke. It's a joke. I don't get it. Johan's asking, what size are the bases on your model bolt action guys? These guys' little pedestals are like basically 1 inch circumference or 1 inch diameters, and they are they're 28 millimeter, so it's like 156 scale is what these guys are. If that helps. And speaking, oh, hold on 1 second, chat. 2.0 is here.
Do you not like my hair?
I couldn't. Oh, your hair. Wow,
I cut like 8 inches.
Well, I couldn't see what it was because it's all behind your shoulder. Well, they did take. What did they do with all of it? Did they make a broom with it or what?
Yes, I needed a new one to fly around and act like a bitch.
your chat's on.
Oh, hi, chat.
No, I do like your hair. I do like
my new hair, chat. It's short.
I do like it. It's different because you've never had it that short.
No, not with you, and she straightened it. So the curl will be back tomorrow.
Yeah, but it's different seeing it that short on you.
You don't like it?
No, it's just it'd be like if I shaved my beard.
Yeah, but I've seen you without your beard.
Yeah, not for like probably 4.5 years.
True.
But yeah, I've just never seen. Yeah, so what's that?
I'm glad.
Yeah, well.
What was that? All right, love you.
All right, love you too. Bonbon's right there. So, all right, guys, yes. Angela says, come back. Oh, we get Abby and Tuck next? Hold on, wait. Hold on. Holy cow, it's going to be a lot of dog. Thank you, Maddie, for letting me know. Me without a beard's a scary thought. Yeah, well, I still thought one day I'm just going to come on stream with it just shaved and then just ignore you guys for like 2 weeks. Be like, what do you mean? My beard's here. Afix says, it looks great. It does look great, but I've just never seen her with it that short. Like, I knew she was getting a trim, but I just never saw it like that. So, yeah, we're going to have a lot of dogs here. We are going to have a lot of dogs. So we're going to get started here, guys. We're going to get the Brendan Banfield trial going. Remember, this is the defense's case in chief. And, yeah, it's going to be a long haul today. So let's, we're going to have to get to it here. We're going to have to get to it. So let's get started. And we won't finish today, guys. Remember, because we got the Thursday night show to get to. So we are not going to be able to get to the end. We are not going to be able to get to the end. So. So, Afix, I don't think, if it's not ready yet, I'm going to get started on, I'm just going to start with what we have, and that's okay. We'll pick up in a second here. Just let me know if it's ready. Guys, Afix, once again, tell them thank you so much for working with the closed captioning here. But we're just going to get this going in the meantime. Let's start this up. Playback speed. There we go. And let's skip ahead to they're having a bench conference. Who knows what they're talking about? Brendan, God, he looks reaped today pretty bad. Cop behind him was like John Coffey. He's like, I'm just plain tired, boss. Well, that dude's got a big old head behind him. He looks very upset. He's like very concerned. He's like, did I forget to turn off the oven before I left? No. He's like, what happens if I get a Brazilian nanny? Will I kill my wife too? It went to the chat. Here we go. Oh, hold on, chat. Yeah, we'll do this real quick.
Thank you. All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my understanding from Deputy Johnson that all of you are available for tomorrow. Is that correct for testimony? All right, perfect. All right, your next witness.
Officer Casanova.
Officer Casanova. Are you making this argument about the Juliana?
Your Honor, can the main screen be released if it isn't already?
It is. There's nobody
Okay,
there.
thank you.
It's fine. Now I feel like I have to. Do you swear or affirm to testify truthfully in this case under penalty of law? Thank you.
This is going to be good from what I understand, chat.
Morning. I'm just going to ask you a few questions. But the first question is I wanted you to identify the picture that's in front of you. Do you see a picture?
I have a blank screen.
Okay.
Now I have a picture.
Okay. Is there any way, based upon just that snapshot of your body cam video, as to whether this is your video?
I can't say for certain.
Okay, let me move forward. And just stop me if you see anything that makes it clear it's you.
This does appear to be my video. I recognize my watch.
Okay. Sir, I'm going to go ahead and play this video.
You have to identify it.
Oh, sorry, Your Honor, that would be identified as Defense Exhibit 86, I believe.
I have an 86.
87.
87. Do you wish to have it in evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor, we should approach.
Okay. Does this need
And
to,
sir, can you,
I'm sorry, does this need to be under seal? I don't know what it has on it.
I don't believe it does, Judge.
He does not know upstairs.
Correct.
Judge, I hate taking the risk, but I do not believe that Officer Casanova goes upstairs in the house. I believe that he remains on the first level.
Is that correct, Officer Casanova?
I never entered the house.
Never entered the house. Okay, so,
Maybe we just approach about one other thing that I might see on there.
I like how his name's Officer
I'm Robert Casanova, C-A-S-A.
Officer Casanova. Oh yeah. So guys, we're on to a new cop, but this is where things start heating up with the defense's trial. Here we go.
N-O-V-A.
And you've indicated that this is your video based on your watch.
Yes.
Okay, and we're going to watch this without sound.
Okay.
Okay? And from time to time, I might stop it and ask you a question.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, come on. This is getting ridiculous. I like how this isn't under seal, but we can't watch it. Like, this should be annoying. Here, let's just go chat. We're just literally just cruising along and like nothing's happening.
Sir, we pause for a second there. Is that you arriving at the house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. At 8:56?
Oh, we can't even hear it.
On the video, for the record, counsel referenced 8:56. That would be the marker on the video, not the time of day.
right, the time of day actually says 8:14.
It was 8:56. I was showing the marker on the video, Judge.
This marker.
Reference for the officer.
Right, and the time on the video of the actual time would be 8:14. Okay.
Thank you.
No audio or video allowed, which is ridiculous. So we're just gonna have to cruise along here, guys.
Officer, at this
Not at this point. I just also, asked Officer Batani, sitting on the sidewalk there, if he needed any help. And then Officer, I think that's Officer Hernandez, I asked him if he had crime scene tape, and he advised he was going to get it.
Okay. At this point, had you been given any instruction as to what you should do?
Yes, my supervisor had asked me to take over from, at the time, Sergeant Training Bell.
Okay.
You know, chat, I may just skip this guy because this is getting ridiculous here.
Then checking on her. Ultimately, when she left the scene, was it in your cruiser or in the cruiser that she's sitting in right now?
I'm not sure which cruiser she was in, but it was not mine.
Okay, you know that it wasn't you.
Yes.
What, other than checking on her, were you given any other duties while there?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Other than checking on her, which you testified to, were there any other duties?
By her,
that
he
you,
means the nanny.
began after she was in the car?
Yes, after a short while, I took over traffic control duties, restricting vehicle access to the roadway.
Your Honor, this is a 2545. And that's, those are all my questions for this officer.
All right, so just to be clear, then you would just want 87 in evidence up to 2545, correct? All right, and that'll stay under seal then. Okay. All right, thank you. Cross-examination?
I have no idea what this witness.
All right.
No
Is this-
questions.
Is this witness subject to recall?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you're free to go, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your next witness?
Your Honor, may I just check Detective
Sure.
Ryerson?
Here we go, guys. Let's see what this one is. I think we've already had him up here before. I think we've already had this guy.
Good morning, Sergeant Ames.
Good morning, sir.
And are you a sergeant?
I am.
Okay. Where are you currently? What's your current station?
I'm in the IB, sir. Internal Affairs Bureau.
And
He's the snitch police. He's the snitch police. And Johan says, now how do we get to feel, now you get to how we feel when we don't share the screen, Sean. Yeah, I know. So, yeah, we can't fast forward. We did fast forward. We got through that part. So, what do you think, guys? We moved through all that. I fast forwarded through all of us, everything there. Like, holy cow. So, anyways, here we go.
during the period of time, February 24th, 2023 through the end of 2024, where were you assigned?
I was assigned to DFS in November 2024 to February 2025. Before that, I was a street supervisor.
Okay. Sir, I'm going to have you take a look at some exhibits. Here, and I'm going to use the
Okay.
overhead if I can.
It's fine. We'll switch over to that. You just have to hit the button on the top.
What do you mean? I've shared the screen. We fast forwarded through it. Guys, we're watching the same thing right now. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you're watching the same thing I'm watching. Is it not working for you guys? Like, I don't get the thing. I don't get what we're talking about. Like, you guys can't see this? Like, is it not working? Like, whatever. Okay, you're speaking historically. Okay, legacy matters. That's not what I'm worried about right now.
Sir, can you see that document?
I can, sir.
Let me just straighten it out. Are you familiar with that document?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm specifically looking at, and I'll just put my pen in there, at this particular area. Is that something that you authored?
I did, sir.
And so the sign out is Ames. That's you?
That is me.
And this is your title here.
Yes, sir.
Now, what is it that you're doing here with regard to this communication?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the witness reading from the item. It hasn't been identified or offered in evidence.
I don't think the question was to read it.
No, it was not
Okay.
treated.
All right, I'll overrule the objection at this point.
What were you doing? This appears to be an email threat. What were you doing?
Looking at the email, it looks like I received something from Lieutenant Joshua, and I was sending it out amongst the people who work for me. It looks like I CC'd my captain.
Judge, I am going to object. He's reading from the letter. If his recollection of this email is such that he can testify to its contents, then certainly.
So if you have foundation objection,
Yes,
sustain that objection.
And sir, this is an email that you authored and you sent on to your colleagues. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Your Honor, I move this in as Commonwealth's Exhibit number 88.
Any objection to that?
No.
Okay, 88 in evidence, and we can
Now, I would
publish
just
it
like
to the
to
jury.
ask you another question. The people that you were saying you were writing to were people that were within your section. Is that correct?
It looks like I CC'd my commanders and 2 of the detectives that work for me.
Okay. And the 2 detectives are both named Brendan Miller?
Yes, sir.
And is one of those detectives the digital forensics analyst for this case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And he's obviously in your section. And is this officer in your chain of command?
No, sir.
Okay. What?
Your Honor, counsel's making reference. He said this officer. I'm not sure who he's speaking
If you
about.
could just.
I was
direct-
just pointing, yes. I won't point, sir. David Giacchio, it says Lieutenant David Giacchio.
He was not in my division.
Okay. And yet he's communicating you regarding, what is it he's communicating about?
An executive summary?
Okay. Is that Brendan Miller's executive summary? Do you recall?
I don't recall, but looking at this, I would have to say,
Judge, I'm going to object to any further answer. He does not recall.
Overruled. You can finish answering. That's fine.
You can finish answering, you were saying, but looking at this.
it appears to be an executive summary.
Okay. Now, was there a particular executive summary that Brendan Miller completed that was at issue while you were there in cybersecurity?
There was no executive summary issued while I was there. I was only there for 4 months, sir.
Okay. Was there, were you aware of any disputes with the executive summary, either within your division or another division?
I know that executive summaries are written on every case.
How about this case? How much contact did you have with this case during your time there?
With this case, not very much contact at all, sir.
Okay. And so what we're seeing is the extent of your contact?
Pretty much, sir.
Okay. So I'm going to take 87 off and I'm going to have you look at,
Judge, I believe that was 88.
I'm sorry.
Is that correct? He referenced
88.
87.
Oh, sorry.
That was
Did I
88.
say-
You just did 88, yes.
okay. Then that was 88 that I took off.
Right.
I'm going to identify what will be marked as Defense Exhibit 89. Can you see that email?
I can't.
Okay. And is that appear to be an email that you forwarded on?
It is.
Actually, you know what? I'll just let you tell me what it is.
It looks like Lieutenant Joshua forwarded a proffer to me,
Okay.
and then I forwarded on to my detectives and CC'd my supervisors.
Okay. And you said a proffer, or are there two proffers there?
I don't know. Normally the system works where you get 2 different angles. I can't recall what,
Okay.
if that's 1 or 2.
So you never examined those proffers?
No, I'm sure I clicked on them before a meeting, but I don't recall if it's 2 separate parts or if it's just two angles.
Okay. And where you sign off as Ames, that's you, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Sergeant Brian Ames, all of the things relating to that were correct as of the time of this writing on
Yes, sir.
November 8th, 2024?
Yes, sir.
And you're CCing, I assume, superiors?
Chain of command. Yes,
Chain of
sir.
command, okay. And Brendan Miller and Brendan Miller are the 2 people that this is directed to.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now they're in your chain of command. Would that be an order that you're providing them? Here, I move this in as Commonwealth's Exhibit 89,
Any objection?
No.
All right, 89 evidence.
if we can have that published.
I mean, yes, I guess since I'm their supervisor, if I if I send them that, I guess it could be perceived as a command, but that's not really the way it works. It's their detectives looking at a case.
Okay, so let me ask you a question about that. By saying their detectives looking at a case, you're saying you leave the detectives alone to do their thing?
I'm saying that I had 4 months there. I wasn't really caught up to speed on digital forensics. That's not my specialty. Like I haven't been trained in that.
Okay, so you're a supervisor for the people that are trained and
I am.
experts. Okay, and as a sergeant in your chain of command, are you being ordered to do something by the lieutenant from homicide?
I think I'm being asked to look at this. Like this is the way information sharing would happen. Is we're not homicide detectives over in that squad. We're kind of we're a support unit over there. So that's how the information would come in.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, criminal investigations, cyber and forensics bureau is a support bureau for homicide?
Well, specifically to digital forensics is a support bureau for all the other bureaus when they have digital evidence.
Okay, and is it common for the lieutenants from other bureaus to communicate with you in this way, to have your detectives do things?
No, there's a lot of back and forth. Like when I was in that position, I kind of field the calls, send stuff up the chain of command, figure out what the detectives think are best for the case, stuff like that.
Okay, so you're going up the chain of command. Is it something related to the communications that you're receiving, or is that something that you would do with every communication?
Since I was a newer sergeant at the time, it was my understanding the expectation out of my command was to link them into pretty much everything that I was doing.
Okay, in the form of, in the immediate moment you received an email?
If I was doing ESRs, like they got them. If we had a case that was unusual, or if we had anything, like I said, I was a newer sergeant. It was my understanding the expectation on me was to forward stuff up my chain of command. That is correct.
Okay, so this is commonplace, what these emails show.
I would say at that point, when I was in DFS, me being newer, I looped them in on a lot of stuff.
Okay, thank you. I've moved 89.
89 is an evidence.
Okay. Sir, I'm going to have you look at what will be marked as Defense Exhibit 90. Do you recognize that? I know you send a million emails.
Yeah,
today,
I
but
send
do you
them all.
recognize this particular one?
Yes, this is my email, sir.
Okay, and this, and I'm pointing with my pen, appears to be you. That's the way you would sign off?
Yes.
And this would be all of the information that's accurate as to where you were working at the time?
Yes, sir.
And what about this up here? What was that? Do you have any idea?
I don't know without seeing it. I mean, based on the context.
All right, chat. We are going to switch over to the closed captioning provided by the great and very kind Afix, taking care of us. We are at 1 hour and 11 minutes. All right.
Seeing it. I mean, based on the context here, it looks like it's a timeline from Lieutenant Joshua
Okay.
related to the proffer.
Do you know, and let me just call your attention to, and this is 89, correct?
That's 90.
90. Your Honor, I move this in as exhibit.
There we
90.
go.
Any objection?
No, ma'am.
90 in evidence and published?
Sir, I'm going to put 89 there next to it.
Okay, not published? 89. Oh, you put 89, okay.
I didn't ask you about, with regard to 89. Do you know what that is?
I mean, given the context of this, it appears that it's a timeline related to this case.
Okay. And I'm going to have you look back at 88. Do you know what the attachment was on 88? And when I say, do you know, I'm asking, did you open it or did you look at it or anything like that?
I mean, I'm sure I looked at it, but if you're asking me right now if I know what that is exactly, all I can say is I can assume that it's an executive summary that has to do with this case.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, on 88, you've added Brendan Miller's, I guess, B1 and B3, they're called?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On 89, you added Brendan Miller, and then CC'd your command staff?
Yes.
And on 90, I don't see Brendan Miller. Would that have been forwarded to them, or is this just specifically for your command
That's
staff?
just for my command staff.
Okay. And so there wouldn't be an additional email to show what you sent to Brendan Miller and Brendan Miller?
I don't believe so, given the context of this. I don't believe I forwarded that, but I don't know.
This appears to be dated.
Doesn't know a whole lot.
November
does he?
7th, 2024. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And let me go back to 89. This was dated November 8th, 2024, correct?
Yes, sir.
And number 88 is dated November 8th, 2024 as well, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now I'm going to Sir, do you see that on your screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and same questions. Is this how you sign out?
It is, sir.
Okay, and this information is all correct?
No, that is, maybe I didn't change my, signature line at that point.
Okay.
I don't know exactly when my first day was up there,
Okay.
but that was my previous position.
Okay, and that's your email, correct? You authored that email?
It is.
Okay, and in this, just to point out a few things, November 8th, 2024, and it's to your command staff, not to the Brendan Miller and Brendan Miller. And there's an attachment, and that's the same, appears to be the same attachment as number 88. Is that I can show you 88 again if you'd like.
I mean, it appears the same, but I couldn't tell you what it is.
And this email is from Lieutenant.
I'm gonna object to the leading.
Who's this email from?
I object to leading, and I object to the continued characterization of the items in the email that the witness has indicated he does not recognize and cannot tell the court or the jury what they are.
I understand. As deleting, also stating deleting.
Who's this email from?
Appears to be Lieutenant Joshua, sir.
Okay, and nothing's changed about his position or your position since we looked at 88, 89, 90?
I'm not sure why my title line is like that. I don't know. I believe at this point I'm in DFS, given the fact that I'm writing emails to that chain of command. I don't know why my subject line is different.
That's fine, as long as you can identify that as your email, that's fine.
That is my email.
Your Honor, I'd move this in as Defendant's Exhibit 91.
Any objection?
Yes, Judge, I'd object. It contains statements made by a party not testifying of a hearsay.
All right.
Your
I
Honor,
assume that's a hearsay objection.
Yes.
Your Honor, I would just identify that for now.
You just identify, you don't want to put it in evidence?
I won't put it in evidence. I'll put it in evidence when I call the next
Okay,
witness.
so 91 is not in evidence. Okay, next question.
Now, Sergeant Ames, in your training as an investigator, are you the type of investigator that follows the evidence, or are you the type of investigator that follows a theory before the evidence is developed?
Me as an investigator, I go with evidence.
Okay. As an investigator, when you question individuals that may be suspected of a crime, do you let them just tell you the story without challenge?
Objection is to leading.
All right, stay as deleting if you want.
What, if anything, do you do when you question a suspect in terms of their story?
I have a conversation with them, sir.
Okay. And if the conversation isn't consistent with the evidence that you have, how do you handle that?
If I have the opportunity, I clarify it.
Okay. And in clarifying, what is it exactly that you're doing when you have a dispute with, or a conflict with what you know versus what the person's saying?
Yes, sir.
When you have a situation as an investigator that you're trained to be, and the facts as you know them are different than what the person is saying to you in the story or whatever conversation you're having, how do you handle that?
If I have the opportunity, I follow up and ask questions that I need to know the answers to.
Okay. And would there be any reason that you wouldn't have the opportunity if you're talking to them?
No, defendants, if you're talking about a suspect of a crime, they don't have to tell you. You can ask the questions, they don't have to tell you if that's what you're asking.
Well, I'm just asking, say, let's assume that nobody's claiming the Fifth Amendment. There's just a statement based upon what the evidence you know. What I'm trying to get at is how do you get to the evidence to determine if what you know is correct through the person that you suspect is the criminal?
If you're asking what I do, I generally ask questions till I understand.
Okay. And in terms of the types of questions, how do you do that, or how were you trained to do that?
Judge, I'd object to relevance at this point. I'm not sure where we're going with this witness.
I think it's relevant to the investigations that would go on in any case, in any criminal case.
I'll sustain the objection as to relevance to this case.
In that situation that we were just talking about, would you challenge an individual or not challenge an individual?
Same objection, Judge, relevance.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay, I'll move on, Judge. You've seen Defense Exhibit 88, 89, 90 have been moved into evidence.
Yes.
91 has been identified by you, sir. Were there any other additional communications, either telephone or meetings relating to the subject matter of these three exhibits that you know of?
This has been so long ago now, I don't know.
Okay.
There quite possibly could be another email or text. I don't know.
Okay, I'm just asking if you know of something. I'm not asking for you to speculate.
I don't know.
During the time frame you were there, I think you said February 25 was when you left?
I believe it was February 25.
Okay. Had Brendan Miller, the digital forensics detective in this case, had he been transferred at that point?
I think
I'm
he
aware you
transferred
guys
either right
did.
before or right after I left.
Okay. Did you have any role in his transfer, whether administrative?
This is another guy who's terrified. He's like, I don't want to get fired. Please don't fire me. Bro, my kids need braces.
Or,
He's like, my kid needs braces, man. Stop. That's kind of where we are with this right now. Guy's like, bro, shut the fuck up. So.
making the decision?
No, not making the decision. I think my role was figure out where Miller wanted to go initially and just be a first line supervisor for him.
Okay. And would that include, would that first line supervisor role, would you have a lot of contact with him?
Yes, that was
I had contact with him every day.
Okay. And would the contact that you had with him be related to the Banfield case?
If things came up, yes, I would have contact with him about the Banfield case, but it wasn't, it's not like I'm doing forensics or anything. If questions come up, I generally shoot an email with my chain of command or stuff like that.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not advising him how to go through data or anything like that. It's, my job was, you know, I had other things that I was doing budgets and distributing cases, new cases coming in.
Okay. Did you have anything, were you a decision maker in his transfer?
No.
Do you have any idea why he was transferred?
I wasn't brought into those conversations. I pretty much was told that the decision had been made. I wasn't involved in those.
Okay. And was there anything that you were told about the decision that was made?
Not that I can remember. I mean, there was, right, it's a police department. There's rumors going around, but I don't know what would make the difference. I don't know where the rumors would stop and what, I don't think I was told specifically why he was being transferred.
Okay, well, I don't want to put you in that spot, so if you don't know. Were you aware of how the experience that Brendan Miller had, the one that was transferred?
I knew that he was I can't think of the terminology, certified, yes, I know that Miller is experienced.
Okay. And he'd been there for how long, do you think, prior to you leaving, or prior to him being transferred?
I don't know.
Okay. In terms of your making the decisions of assignment of cases, where would he be in the decision process for you?
I don't know what you're asking, sir.
Would he be one of the more experienced ones that you would assign to, or one of the less experienced ones?
The other Miller was kind of the person who I bounced what we were going to do. He was the other Miller was the more senior Miller on the squad, so I bounced most of my decisions off of him.
Okay, and then he'd assist you with that?
He would, yes, he would assist me with that.
And do you know how long he had been in the digital forensic section?
No.
Okay.
I know it was a while, but I don't know.
Okay. Judge, I don't have any further questions.
All right, cross-examination.
I'm going to leave 91 there if that's okay.
Oh, that's fine.
Good morning. How are you?
How you doing?
All right. So just so we're clear, you weren't in digital forensics very long, correct?
I was not.
Okay. And you didn't get involved in any of the actual digital forensics involved in this case, correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And you weren't involved in Detective Miller's transfer?
No, ma'am.
And you weren't involved in Detective Miller's work on this case, correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay. These emails you've been shown, you just passed them on. Is that correct?
That is correct.
They didn't require any specific action of you, correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And those requests were to examine the evidence in this case in the context of new evidence that had been received. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Did you change, distort, or hide any evidence in this case?
No, ma'am.
Did you direct anyone to change, distort, or hide any evidence in this case?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right, any redirects?
Sir, I
This is
appreciate your
just showing
answers.
the
Did
monkey
you feel as
business
though
that
anyone was
happens.
suggesting that you distorted, changed, or did anything to evidence based upon these emails?
No.
Thank you. I don't have any.
Is he subject to recall?
No, no.
All right, you're free to go, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your next witness?
Leah Smith,
Excuse me?
Detective Leah Smith.
Detective Smith?
Oh. All right, chat. That was really just to show you guys kind of what's going on with these dudes and the case. And like, yeah, there's been monkey business here. But notice, every time that happens, the state goes up and says, did you do anything? No. Did you mess with it? No. Did anybody tell you to mess with it? No. So that's the state. The defense is trying to put out there the, well, you know what happened. And then the prosecutor gets up and says, did that happen? And he's like, no. So. Pokey is saying, why is it not admissible to prove knowledge, but not the truth of the matter asserted? Well, it's because there's different ways. Like if you want that thing to come in, that statement itself to be used, you should have that person be forced to come in and say it. But if you want to show the effect on the hearer or their knowledge or their present sense impression, or it's an excited utterance, shout out to Hella. Those are why we have those exceptions, because there's times where we're trying to prove a different point. A very common law school case is there's a plane crash. And it's like in the 70s, and this husband and wife are flying an airplane, and the husband's worth like $100 million. And his will and his wife's will are all determined on who gets how much money based on who survived. And you know, a police officer came upon the plane crash and the husband was still alive. And he knows that because the guy talked to him and said words. Well, technically, I'm not asking that he said anything. I'm just asking proof that he talked to show he was alive, knowledge that he's alive. So that's why the words aren't hearsay in some situations. Other situations, they might be. It just, there are exceptions to the hearsay rules, and that's what they're for. Is sometimes you don't need the witness because it's not necessarily the issue, or anything like that. Does that make sense, Pokey? I don't know if I say it in a way that makes sense here, but they're exceptions and they're very valuable. Now, does a prosecutor abuse the shit out of them routinely? But it is what it is. So let's see here.
Tripoli in this case.
Probably give me another detective.
Good morning, Detective
Good morning.
Smith. Can you please state your name and spell it for the court reporter?
Leah Smith, Leah Smith.
And what division in the Fairfax County Police are you currently in?
Homicide.
Okay. And were you in homicide during the time of February 24th, 2023?
I was.
Okay. So you're familiar with this case, the Banfield case, and the Juliana Perez Magalhães case?
I am.
Okay. And as a homicide detective, you're trained in certain investigatory techniques, correct?
Yes.
What are those? If you could just tell the ladies and gentlemen.
We finally have somebody who knows about this goddamn case. For once. This will be great. This will be great. Let's see what this is.
Gentlemen of the jury.
So we are gatherers of facts. We will respond to scenes, talk with patrol officers who have already arrived. They'll give us a briefing of the case. We'll identify people that we need to talk to, places we need to go, and gather other information and track down what information we have gotten, and if we need surveillance video or go to stores and track back movements, identify people to talk to. We'll canvass a neighborhood. We'll talk with crime scene to figure out what needs to be done in their capacity and how that will work in our capacity. We will just gather all the information that we can and put together to the best of our ability what happened in a particular incident.
And how do the theories of cases emanate from an investigation?
So the best course of action when you're investigating a case is to collect facts and information. You don't have theories to begin with. You have an open mind going into it because you don't know what happened. And then you try to gather all of the information so that it gives you a clearer picture as to what happened.
And in terms of gathering the information in order to get a clearer picture for, I guess, the entire squad, what mechanisms do you utilize in order to make sure everybody's on the same page?
We discuss what we've done, who we've talked to, what information we have gathered or captured. Crime scene will let us know what they have. We usually have a detective who is with crime scene as they're doing their work, and they'll pass on information. If we have other entities doing work on our behalf or assisting us in any way, they'll provide information, and then that will be discussed amongst the squad so that we all have a full picture of what we know.
So beginning with February 24th, 2023, had you developed any theories on that day based upon what you saw at the crime scene?
No.
Okay. Give the ladies and gentlemen of the jury as to kind of what the timeline is for any theories that you may have had.
Personally?
Yes, as an investigator.
So I did not, and don't have or don't create theories as I'm investigating a case until I have all of the evidence that we can collect. And even then, a theory of the case and how it's going to be presented in court is really something the Commonwealth's attorney is going to do. They're the ones who are going to present it. So we will give them all of the facts and all the information that we have, and whatever theory that's going to come from that is something that they're going to present to it. We do make a determination if there is probable cause to get warrants for somebody in a case. So in this particular case, I did not have a conclusion until we had all of the evidence in the room.
Okay.
The blood evidence and all of that stuff, that was really understood.
Okay. What was the time frame on acquiring all of that information in order to potentially have theories? If you were
those pieces came in toward the very end of the investigation, a full understanding of the sequence of events that we could tell and understand in the room that came toward the very end.
Okay. But in terms of the hard evidence that's done, like DNA, fingerprints, digital forensics, when is the evidence available in order to arrive at conclusions or rule things out or any of those sorts of things?
That's a sliding situation. So things are submitted to the lab and you might get information and lab sheets back in different times. It's not all given to us at once. And so having that portion of the investigation, you might submit something and then realize that you need to submit more things, or the lab will only take a certain number of things, and then you do a second submission. So then your lab sheets will come in as they come in, kind of in a longer time period.
And the decision process amongst the homicide investigators, is that just within the room of homicide, the actual investigators?
But
Let me see if I can articulate that a little better. You've just described the gathering of evidence and the discussions. Would that be with the homicide detectives, or who else would be included in that?
It could be anybody who's involved in the investigation. We do briefings with all the entities that are part of it. So it could be computer forensics, it could be crime scene. Our supervisors are there. If we're having, so it could be different meetings over the time period of the investigations. There might be different people who are present during those discussions.
And is it, would you describe the homicide group as being the investigators and the supervisors in another way?
The homicide detectives are the investigators, yes.
Okay. And just so it's clear for the jury, the chain of command going up, the supervisors, they're not investigators, correct?
They are not investigators, they're supervisors.
Okay. Did there come a time when supervisors were suggesting theories to the homicide investigators in this case?
So we had a briefing within the first week of the incident where we were discussing everything that everybody had done and the information that was collected. And our supervisor at the time told us there were two theories in the case and we needed to get behind the right one.
Who was the supervisor?
Lieutenant Smuck.
Okay. Who was in the room?
The homicide investigators, the detectives.
Okay. Were there any other people?
I don't recall if there were victim services or advocates or our crime analyst or others who might be there during a briefing when we have just had an incident.
Was one of those theories catfishing?
It wasn't stated what the theory was. It just said there were two theories and you need to get behind the right one.
Okay. At some point, in order to get behind it, you had to know what it was. When did you find out?
I'm not sure who said exactly that it was catfishing, that was what it was. That's just what I had begun to understand and hear from other people.
No. Did you or any of your, well, actually, I can only ask you, what, if anything, did you do, given what you just testified to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury about your methodology, what, if anything, did you do or say after hearing that?
I told Lieutenant Smuck in the room full of investigators that at this point in time, nobody should have a theory in the case, that we are still at the very beginning and we should only be investigating and gathering facts and information.
And how was that received?
There was no response.
And did this meeting end? Did the conflict between your statement and the theory that was sitting out there continue in conflict after this meeting? Like in future meetings?
I would say that the investigators on this case knew to investigate with an open mind, even though that might not be along the lines of what the supervisors might have wanted us to look at, how the case to investigate a particular line.
Okay. And did there ever come a time, I know you said at the end of the case that the catfish theory went away?
Objection leading, objection, facts not in evidence.
That's deleting also statement.
When, if at all, did the theory of catfishing go away from this case?
I don't know.
Was that then, well, did it ever go away?
I don't know.
Okay. And would that be for you to know, or would that be someone else within homicide?
Judge, I'm going to object to the form of the question. I don't think go away is clear enough. I mean, obviously, we're here on a catfish theory.
What's your legal objection?
Judge it form. That is an unclear question.
Overruled. Go ahead. You can answer. Remember the question.
Right. Would you just mind repeating the question?
So what I'm trying to determine over the lifetime of the case, was the catfishing theory ever disregarded or put to the side?
No.
Was there during the life of the case, excuse me, sorry, was there periods of time where the homicide squad was not supporting the catfish theory?
So everything is on the table. I wouldn't say that it wasn't, we explored all options and that was always on the table.
Okay. And when was it that in your mind catfishing was confirmed or negated?
It was toward the end, I would say, that once we understood the full for the investigation, catfishing is maybe how you got to a point, but what happened in the room, in the bedroom, that is really what you need to figure out. That's the determination of who would be charged in the crime of murder. So once you understood all of that and what happened within the room, and then you have the other evidence of it coming forward and through the digital forensics and the interviews and all of this. That decision was made on who to charge for it based on the forensic evidence.
And you charged Juliana Perez Magalhães in October of 2023, correct?
Yes,
So was it concluded at that point?
she was charged for her involvement in the crime. So she wasn't charged with Christine.
Right. And so was it based upon her recantation that Ryan Banfield was charged?
No.
In terms of the catfish theory, actually strike that, Judge. I don't have any further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
That was interesting. That wasn't a
Good morning, Detective.
bombshell,
Good morning.
but
So
interesting nonetheless.
you've told us that you conducted your
I mean, that was not the bombshell. Like, this is not the detective where it's a bombshell, but we're starting to introduce the idea of there were competing thoughts. There were splits in theory about what's going on. So
investigation in a manner consistent with following the evidence. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. You explained to us that theories were certainly discussed, but that they did not drive how this investigation was conducted, correct?
oh wow, she's like a little more professionally dressed today. Finally. I also like the guy in fucking hunting camo behind them. Based.
Ultimately, no.
All right. Counsel asked you about this meeting where you were told and detectives were told that there were two theories and you needed to get behind the right one. You challenged that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did that statement impact how you investigated the case?
No.
Did you see that statement impact how your coworkers investigated the case?
No.
Your investigation was focused on who killed Joseph Ryan and Christine Banfield, correct?
That's correct.
And you followed the evidence in your investigation, and that evidence led you to charging decisions, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Juliana Perez Magalhães was charged because you were able to prove that she shot Joe Ryan. The evidence supported that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And Mr. Banfield was charged when? What was the turning point in your recollection of when Mr. Banfield was charged?
When we got the blood evidence back.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right, redirect.
Detective Smith, were you ever feeling pressure to follow a theory instead of evidence in this case?
I did not.
You spoke out about it, correct?
Yes.
Did you feel pressure by command after you spoke out about it?
No, I did not feel pressure. I know what I have to do as an investigator. I know how to investigate, and no matter what they thought or the theories they wanted to put forward, that was not how I was going to investigate or provide mentorship or counsel to other investigators on the squad.
Did you raise that with other investigators, the appropriateness of command staff suggesting theories?
Yes.
And did you address that with the group?
Individually as a group, yes.
And who was it that was applying the pressure to you?
Whoever was in charge at the time, at the beginning, Lieutenant Smuck, who made that comment in the first time.
After March 24th, March 24, 2024.
It would become from Lieutenant Giascio and I think at the time he was a Captain Bursch.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
All right, just subject to recall? No? No? All right, Detective Frigo, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we started a little early. We'll go ahead and have our 15-minute recess now. I did not discuss the case and do not do any outside research. We'll see you in 15 minutes.
We're going to take a break here, chat. And we're going to catch up. We're going to go, like she said, 15 minutes. So let's make sure they didn't talk in the middle of this. I don't think they
For the court
did.
reporter?
All right, here we go, chat. All right.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Can you please tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury your name and spell your name for the court reporter?
Matthew Wilson, Nilssen.
And where are you currently employed?
I'm currently employed with the Fairfax County Police Department as a detective sergeant with the Major Crimes Bureau.
Okay. Were you previously in the homicide division?
Yes, I was.
When was that?
I was employed as a homicide detective prior to my promotion to sergeant from approximately February 2023 until what would have been November of 2024.
Okay. So I'm sorry, you were the homicide sergeant at that time.
I was a detective on the squad.
Okay. And then you transferred to where you are now, which is in the homicide division?
I work for the Major Crimes Bureau. I am not the supervisor of the homicide unit.
Okay.
I work for
What areas are you working in?
I supervise the sex crime squad.
Thank you. Now, calling your attention to February 24th, 2023, were you involved actively with the homicide that occurred at the Banfield house?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and what role did you play in that?
I assisted beginning on that day with the investigation by handling investigative tasks such as writing search warrants, and then throughout the remainder of the investigation with tasks that were assigned to me by my supervisor and other detectives handling the investigation as primary.
Okay, and based upon the time frame that you said you were there, you were still there in October of 23 when Juliana Perez Magalhães was charged, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and were you involved in that?
Yes, I was.
Okay, was there any sort of planning that went with that?
Yes.
Okay, what was the ultimate goal of charging her with murder?
I would say there were several goals that included the fact that evidence supported probable cause to charge her with murder at that time. But based on our investigation, there was belief that there was more to the story that could be elicited from her. And the effect of charging her with a crime was effectively a way to introduce a change in circumstances between her and Brendan Banfield that could lead to the elicitation of more information about what happened.
Okay, so charging her.
So now they're admitting part of this was to pressure her, which, I mean, they were, but it's nice they're saying it.
Keeping her in jail, the pressure that would be caused, was that part of the plan?
Yes, in terms of in any type of incident in which you have multiple people involved in the carrying out of that act, there is competing interest between self-interest and cooperation. And by introducing circumstances that would encourage cooperation with law enforcement over cooperation with other parties, it could change the outcome of the investigation, change the amount of information available to us as investigators.
Okay, like a plea agreement to a lesser charge and no further jail time, something like that?
There's a number of different ways that could be accomplished, or the ultimate goal could be accomplished.
And that's ultimately what happened, though. That's what caused the change in Juliana Perez Magalhães.
My understanding is she did at one point cooperate with detectives. I was not involved at that point in the investigation.
Now, while you were on the homicide squad, were you ever assigned to listening to the jail phone calls?
No, I was not.
Okay. Was that something that was employed in order to determine whether or not she was subject to the pressure that had been intended?
I know that someone was assigned to review those calls, and the information learned from those calls was part of our investigation.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I don't have any further questions.
Cross-examination? All right, is this witness subject to recall?
No.
All right, here we go, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your next witness,
Your Honor, Patrick Bruce.
Patrick Bruce.
Morning, Mr. Baruch.
Good morning.
Can you please state your name and spell it for the court reporter?
John Patrick Baruch, B-R-U-S-C-H.
And you previously were with the Fairfax County Police Department?
That's correct.
Okay. And in what capacity was your final position?
I was the deputy chief
Okay.
of the Administrative Support Bureau. I'm sorry.
Yes. At some point prior to going to the administrative, were you transferred from another department to go to the Administrative Support Bureau?
Just for clarification, are you asking my previous assignment before
Yes.
that? Yes, sir. I was the deputy chief of the Major Crimes Bureau.
Okay. And you were transferred from there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was that of your own volition?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You wanted that transfer to the Administrative Support Bureau?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, during your time as deputy chief of the Major Crimes Division, you were overseeing or supervising the homicide squad at that time, correct?
It was one of several squads under the Major Crimes Bureau.
Okay. I'm just asking about the homicide squad. You were supervising the homicide squad.
Could I have permission to clarify?
Yeah, sure.
So I was the head of the entire Major Crimes Bureau, which encompassed the domestic violence unit, the sex crime squad, child abuse squad, robbery, cold case, as well as homicide.
Okay. And were you involved or were you in that position at the time of February 24, 2023?
So at that time, I was the captain of the Major Crimes Violent Crimes Division, so not a deputy chief.
And when did you become deputy chief?
I became a deputy chief in January of 2024.
Okay. And did you have contact or involvement in the case that we're here for today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how would you describe your role in that case among all the other ones that you were handling?
Overall, my responsibilities are similar for all the cases in the Major Crimes Bureau, to include this one. So it's oversight, it's providing advice as needed, support, guidance, and then also raising concerns in the investigative process if those arise.
Okay. Were there concerns in the investigative process by you in this case?
I think that's fair to say, yes.
Okay. And did it relate to digital forensics?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And just to get to it, were you involved in the transfer of Detective Miller from digital forensics to child sex?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In fact, you at one point spoke to,
Objection leading.
All right, I'll sustain us to lead.
what, if anything, did you say to Deputy Chief Freed about Brendan Miller to have him transferred?
I had indicated that as far as I was concerned, that Detective Miller was not to work another digital forensic case that pertained to the Major Crimes Bureau.
And were you aware of his history prior to you making that, I guess, happen?
Could you please clarify?
His work history there in digital forensics?
Was I aware that he was a detective within the division, the bureau? I guess I'm looking.
Well, I'm assuming you were aware of him being a detective in the bureau. Were you aware of his background in digital forensics?
I guess I would have to say no at that point.
Okay. Was that anything you took into account with regard to Detective Miller?
No, sir.
And so is it fair to say, or what if anything, or what if any case was the reason that you asked for him to be transferred?
It would be this case that we're here for.
Okay. And what item of this case was it that caused you such concern?
Could I actually go back for 1 second? I didn't say that he needed to be transferred. I indicated that he wouldn't work a case for the Major Crimes Bureau.
Okay.
That was Deputy Chief Freed's decision whether or not he ultimately would be transferred.
Okay. So you as the head of you're the deputy chief of the homicide or the Major Crimes Bureau. By saying that, you essentially caused the transfer.
Judge, I'm going to object to his characterization of the evidence. Objection is to form. The witness has testified that at this point in time, he was the captain of Major Crimes when the decision was made, not the deputy chief.
Is that correct?
I was the Deputy Chief of Major Crimes when I made that
All right.
statement.
Okay. And when you're the deputy chief, you make that kind of statement, especially with major crimes, that gets things moving, correct?
I certainly acknowledge that had influence on his transfer.
Okay. And his transfer was classified as performance management. Do you know that term?
Oh, chat. I don't know. Like this is. I was told this is the guy. I was told to watch. This is going to be good. Why are you transferring people around, sir? Oh.
I didn't know that that's what his transfer was classified as.
Okay. Have you ever heard that term?
We have a performance management document.
Okay. But not a doctrine that allows transfer without documenting discipline?
I couldn't comment on that.
Was there discipline associated with this decision?
Not that I'm aware of.
Were you disciplining him by moving him out of your area?
Absolutely not. I actually retained him in the child exploitation unit.
Okay. So where he is right now?
Yes, sir.
Now, calling your attention to immediately after the the killing of Christine Banfield. Were you in meetings at that time when you were a captain?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And were you involved with any theories relating to the case after the killing?
I'm sure at some point.
Okay. Do you know what catfishing is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was that something that you were pushing with your homicide detectives at any point?
I wouldn't characterize that as pushing.
Okay. Would you tell them that this is the theory? Is that not pushing?
So I had a specific meeting with then Lieutenant Harrington. I believe it was in November of 2023. I was asked by the two commanders, Lieutenant Matthew Lewick, as well as Lieutenant Aaron Weeks, to meet with Lieutenant Harrington. During that time, I actually proposed 3 separate theories to Lieutenant Harrington. And we discussed those theories at that time. So there was not only one theory I was pushing, or presenting, I should say. Ultimately, I was looking for an objective and comprehensive analysis of all the facts and evidence in this case.
And when the catfish theory came up, had there been a collection of all of the evidence, all the digital forensics, fingerprints, DNA, all those things?
Just like with any investigation, it was fluid.
Okay. Had that theory of catfishing come out before any of that was finalized?
I'm sorry, could you go back to the things you had listed?
DNA?
Yes, Max. He's in the child exploitation unit because he's a child.
Digital forensics and fingerprints.
The digital forensics, for the most part, had been back at that point.
What time frame was that?
That would probably be the spring of 2023
Okay, so
to fall of 2023.
So my question is, within weeks of the killing of Christine Banfield, did you suggest the catfish theory in a meeting of the homicide detectives?
I don't recall ever being in a meeting with homicide detectives. I do recall talking to my command team about that possibility.
And who was your command team?
Lieutenant Weeks as well as Lieutenant Lewick.
Okay, and where was Lieutenant Joshua there at that point?
He was not.
Okay, but you brought him in, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and that was March of 2024?
That's correct.
And it was at that point that you had decided that catfish theory was?
Objection
viable?
leading.
All right, I'll sustain this the meeting.
What, if anything, had you concluded about catfish theory at the time that Lieutenant Giassio was brought in?
I hadn't made any conclusions at that point. Did I have a strong working theory that this was a catfish? Absolutely.
Okay, and was that something that you told Lieutenant, I guess, Giassio when he came on with you?
I don't ever recall explicitly having that conversation. I think he probably came to that conclusion on his own.
Okay, but the two of you were pretty close in terms of the investigative issues, correct?
Yes, we were.
You were both in narcotics together at one point?
Yes, we were.
And you brought him in to major crimes, correct?
I did. That was a collective decision amongst my command team.
Okay. And so is it not true that you insisted you had to have Giassio come in March of 2024?
That is not true.
Okay. Were you aware that he was on the Brady list?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's the Brady list for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
It's basically an indication of a time or a potential in where you weren't totally forthcoming.
So truthfulness?
It could be.
But that's essentially the basis of the discipline in the police department, truthfulness, correct?
I think that could vary as well.
Uh-oh, we got cops on the Brady list. Holy shit. Oh, no. That's bad. You guys remember, Brady list for cops that are liars. They can't be trusted on the stand. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Uh-oh.
Ethics, not necessarily truthfulness, so it varies.
But at the time you hired him into that division, he was on the Brady list, correct?
I did not hire him.
Okay, at the time that you asked him to come in and be a lieutenant in your section.
So could I have an opportunity to explain the transfer process?
Judge, I think at this point in time, I would object. I'm not sure the relevance of a non-testifying witnesses being on the Brady list.
Oh, I think we've already established that if you want to move on from that.
Yes.
Okay.
At the time that he was hired, he was on the Brady list, correct?
When he was hired by the police department?
No, by you as a lieutenant within major crimes.
Again, I'd have to explain the transfer process and the selection process.
March 24, was he on the Brady's list?
Yes,
Okay. And this is 2024, March of 2024.
correct.
And has he been put on the Brady list again during this time?
Objection as to relevance.
What's the relevance as to this time?
Judge, it goes to truthfulness, which will ultimately come in to the decisions to have him involved, the decision to
At this time, I'll sustain as to at this time.
Okay. Now, sir, you indicated that you decided that Detective Miller was not going to be, I think as you said, involved in any other major crimes while you were there.
Any of the digital forensics for the major crimes cases, correct.
And then he was transferred.
Within weeks, I would say, yes, sir.
Okay. And what was your basis for that?
So there were a few factors. Would you like me to expand on this?
Were they related to this case?
Yes, sir.
Exclusively related to this case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was it related to his work product?
Yes, sir.
And are you talking about the executive summary work product?
That was part of it.
Okay. And so his conclusions were not agreeable to you?
I wouldn't word that way.
How would you word it?
I would word that his analysis was incorrect.
Okay. And at that time, when you determined his analysis wasn't correct, had you had any training in digital forensics?
I have my master's in computer forensics.
Okay. So did you look at some of the items of evidence in order to arrive at that informed decision?
So he had provided me a zip file of a Cellbrite, but that wasn't able to be downloaded.
Okay. So you didn't really review anything in order coming to that conclusion?
Well, I can get into the specifics if you'd like me to.
Well, I'm asking some questions right now, and perhaps we'll get there.
Okay.
You didn't actually check the source of his findings. with
Objection leading.
What, if anything, did you do to check the source of his findings, the digital forensics?
I didn't conduct my own digital forensic analysis, if that's what you're asking.
Okay, and I think you said you couldn't get into the portable case when you were given to.
The zip file of the Cellbrite, correct.
Okay, and so what would be the reason that you would differ from your expert's opinion?
Because of some of the unsubstantiated deductions that he made.
Okay, so it's based upon his decisions relating to his digital forensics expertise.
So the deductions in the wrongful analysis.
Okay, so the decisions.
I wouldn't use that word. I'd say deductions and wrongful analysis.
Okay, and the wrongful analysis relating to the actual digital forensics that were downloaded?
Some of them, yes.
Okay, and did you ever go over those with him in detail?
I would ask clarifying questions.
Did you tell him exactly what it was that you disagreed with in terms of his deductions and his analysis?
I think a couple of them, yes.
Okay, how many were there in total?
Off the top of my head, I could probably list at least 4.
Okay, and so it was based on that, based on your reading of his executive summary, that you decided that it had gotten to the point where he's no longer doing any more major crimes under your tutelage.
Digital forensics for major crimes cases. I retained him as a detective within the Major Crimes Bureau child exploitation.
I understand that. The digital forensics section.
He was not going to do digital forensic analysis for any other major crimes case.
Okay, and sorry, bear with me for a second. Were you aware that his work was peer reviewed outside of the police department?
I was.
And were you surprised to see that they concurred in his findings?
I have a question to clarify. Did they concur on his extraction or his analysis?
Both.
That's news to me.
Okay, so that peer review held no weight for you because you had already decided that the analysis was wrong.
Objection leading.
All right, sustain as to leading. You want to rephrase?
Why was it that the peer review did not hold any weight for you?
Because ultimately the analysis was incorrect.
Okay. Now, in terms of this Cellbrite,
It's interesting. He said it's all incorrect, but it's like, you didn't do it yourself. No. Then how the hell do you know it's incorrect? Like, sometimes these fucking police, the way they do shit, it's so infuriating. And you guys understand now why it gets infuriating.
messages that you say you reviewed. What was it that was the problem with those?
The Cellbrite messages that he had provided,
Yes.
I wasn't able to open the zip file.
Okay, so we don't know anything about the Cellbrite messages as to your decisions on his analysis. Were you privy to a printout of his communications on FetLife?
Yes.
Okay. Were you privy to the communications from Telegram?
Yes.
And do you understand how those were obtained?
Through the digital forensics.
Do you know how that's done?
It's essentially tied to software that then downloads both from a cell phone and or laptop or any digital device.
And did you review that data?
I didn't review all the data, no.
What data did you review?
I reviewed the correspondence.
I'm sorry, the what?
The correspondence on Telegraph, the correspondence on
Okay.
FetLife. There's a significant amount of data when they download these items.
Okay. Now, are you still working as a police officer?
I'm not.
Okay. On July 10th, when we were here before the court, you had just moved to the Administrative Support Bureau, correct?
I moved there in February of 2025.
Okay, so, but that's when we found out you had moved, or I found out that you moved to the Administrative Support.
Objection, counsel's testifying.
Oh,
Correct?
I can't testify to when you found out I was.
Okay, on the 10th, we talked about this, correct?
Yes.
And how you had enjoyed this position and you were really looking forward to, you know, the things that happen in an Administrative Support Bureau, and the challenge of not having, that's being in more of an administrative role than being in major crimes.
I would agree that it was a completely different assignment than I'd had throughout my entire career.
And that's something that you sought, correct?
Correct.
Isn't that what you said?
Yes, sir.
And it's something that you're really excited about, correct?
I don't know if I'd say really excited, just
Well, when you were here on the 10th, you said that you were very interested and excited about your new challenge.
sure.
Okay. And when did you retire?
July 25th, 2025.
When did you put in your retirement paperwork?
July 11th, 2025.
So the Friday after the Thursday that we were in court here?
Correct.
Okay. So what happened?
That's not suspicious. Also, you get to retire in 2 weeks like that? That's fast. That's suspiciously fast.
Anything about the excitement with the Administrative Support Bureau?
Judge, I would object and ask to approach.
Uh-oh, something happened. Yeah, something happened. That's interesting. Huh. Why would you ask this way? Why would you ask all that? That's sounds like somebody knows something. I think he does. I think he knows. He knows something. Chat. Interesting.
So why did you retire one day or put in your retirement paperwork one day after the hearing that we had here on July 10th?
For personal and professional reasons.
Okay.
What was that reason?
You're no longer a police officer.
I'm not.
That's not suspicious at all. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Sir, I'm going to change. Your Honor, I think we have ID 91, so 92 would be the next.
All right, yes, sir.
Sir, if you can look on the screen in front of you, are you able to see this communication?
Yes.
Okay, and who is that communication between?
Director Fayez.
Okay, and Director Fayez, who is that?
She's the Director of Victim Services.
Okay, and was she someone that was within your command structure?
Yes, sir.
Okay, exactly where does that fall in the Major Crimes Bureau command structure?
She's part of the command team.
Okay, so would she be involved with command staff meetings?
Yes, sir.
Is she supposed to be there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here we have, it looks like a,
Counsel, if you go back to the microphone, the jury won't be able to.
sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, looking at the exhibit that's going to be identified as Exhibit 92, do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and there's reference to a jail call. Is that you or is that someone else?
They're responding where it says my name.
Okay, and so who else was on this thread?
I believe it would have to be, based on the response of one last favor GI, would be Lieutenant Giasio.
Okay, and so it was the three of you, and you agree that's a communication that you had with all three?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Your Honor, I move that as Commonwealth's Defense Exhibit 92.
Any objection?
Judge, it contains hearsay statements. Two of those individuals have not been called to testify.
I'll identify
ID
it,
it,
Judge,
okay.
and we'll get to it later, and
All
that's
right, ID is 92.
92. Sir, do you see that on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it looks to be 3 people.
That's correct.
Okay, and who are those 3 people?
Based on the text message, it would be Chief Kevin Davis, myself, Director Fayez, and Lieutenant Giasio.
And the date of Friday, October 25th, 7:32.
Correct.
Does that have significance for you?
I believe that's the date that Juliana proffered.
Your Honor, can I identify this as defense exhibit number 93?
93 identified as 93.
And I'd move that into evidence?
Objection contains hearsay.
All right, that's sustained as hearsay at this moment.
I'll just identify it,
Okay.
Your Honor. and-
Identified as 93.
Sir, do you see what will be identified as defense exhibit number 94?
I do.
Okay, and is that a message group that you were involved with?
Could you just give me a second to read this, please?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir, it is.
And this message that you sent is on October 25th, 2024, correct?
Correct.
And the same significance as the previous message?
Are you saying the day of the proffer?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, have I identified this one yet?
You identified as 94.
94. I'd move that into evidence, Your Honor.
Same objection.
Objection,
All
hearsay.
right, I'll sustain the objection at this point.
Okay,
It is
I'll-
ID is 94.
ID is 94. Thank you. Sir, can you see that message?
I can.
And I'd identify this as Defense Exhibit 95. There are a number of people involved in this message, correct?
It appears that way, yes, sir.
And the names there, does that match up with your memory?
Could I review this as well?
Of course, of course.
I've reviewed it. I don't recall this correspondence, but my name is certainly on it.
Do you have any idea who is writing in the blue boxes,
I can't tell.
even by the discussion?
Well, my issue with being able to tell is that the banner, it's very small initials.
Okay. Your Honor, I think I've identified this as 95.
That's correct.
Okay. I'll ID this and
Okay.
come back to it.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I'm going to have you look at this. It'll be identified as Defense Exhibit 96. Take some time to read it.
I can see my first name up at the top. I don't recall this correspondence.
Okay, and is that with Lieutenant Giasio?
I couldn't say. I see my first name up at the top.
Guy remembers a lot of things here.
Your Honor, I'd move to admit that as Exhibit 96.
Judge, two objections, hearsay, and it has not been recognized by the witnesses having been.
Erica,
is-
basically they're getting at this guy was involved in moving people around, and when anybody came up with an alternate theory, they shuffled them off or threatened to fire them or did something to them. So that's what's going on there. That's what's going on there. And this is all about, remember, this is all about showing these are police, they shut it down, they buried the lead. That's what they're going for here.
Sustain the objection. It's just ID is 96 at this point.
Yeah, so they rehomed a lot of police officers. Yeah.
Sir, please look at this message. This is going to be identified as Defense Exhibit 97.
Yeah, this is ultimately the issue. This is the theory.
Again, I see my name at the top. I just couldn't verify if that's me as Patrick and or who this correspondence is with.
Okay. Let's talk about that. PB, Patrick, that doesn't show up on your text messages?
Well, it appears that this is with somebody else, so it's what appears on their text messages.
Okay, so do you have any idea, based on the content of it, who that person would be?
Are you asking me to take a guess?
No, I want you to conclude who that person is. Can you do that?
I can't definitively say who that's with.
Okay. Your Honor, I would move that in as Counsel's Exhibit or Defense Exhibit 97.
Same objection.
All right, I'll sustain the objection, but ID is 97.
97. Your Honor, is that
That
right?
was 97.
Okay, okay, thank you.
It got sustained. Wow.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to identify what will be marked as Defense Exhibit number 98. Please read it.
Again, that's my name at the top, or my first name at the top, the initials PB. I don't recall this correspondence.
The defense
Can I
attorney
move
keeps
into
sniffling in the
evidence
mic.
Exhibit 97.
98.
98. Same objection, Judge.
All right, I'll sustain the objection. ID is 98.
This is feigned incompetence. I can't tell you anything about that. I don't know. Remember, this is how these guys operate when they're up against the wall. They will shift blame like that. That's how they operate. It's how these guys roll. So don't be surprised by it. It's what they do all the time.
Sir, can you look at the screen in front of you and tell me if you recognize this message? All right, identify this as Defense Exhibit 99.
All right.
Again, I see that my first name at the top, the initials. I just don't recall this correspondence.
Your Honor, move in Defense Exhibit 98.
99.
99. Objection, Your Honor.
99, sorry.
Sustained, just ID is 99.
Sir, can you see the picture in front of you?
Yes.
And do you have any recollection, based upon your review of the content of these messages, as to whether or not that's yours?
This I do recall. Yes, sir.
Okay. And were you the one who wrote about Klingon and Kelsey and not holding off on bringing Klingon and Kelsey?
Objection is to counsel's reading the document into evidence, but it's not being admitted.
All right.
Just trying to identify which message.
All right. You can just point to it.
Which,
Sustain the objection.
I'm pointing to that one right there. Is that you, or is that the person you're talking to?
Based on how this is presented, that would be me.
Okay. And
Face.
in that message, you're talking about Eric Klingon, the prosecutor, correct?
Yes.
And Kelsey Gill, the prosecutor.
Yes.
Okay. And whomever you're speaking to, you're saying, hold off on bringing-
Objection. It has not been admitted into evidence. Counsel cannot read what is written.
I'll sustain that objection.
Okay, Your Honor, I'd move this into evidence as Exhibit 100.
And again, Judge Commonwealth would object. It contains here.
All right, I'll sustain the objection, but ID is 100.
Okay. Sir, this is going to be identified as Defense Exhibit 101. Do you recognize that message?
I don't recall this specific message.
Okay. Is that, do you know if that is your communication, even if you don't remember the content?
I don't recall.
Your Honor, I'll hold this as identification
101.
before moving in.
Okay.
101. Sir, do you recall this conversation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. And do you know who you were communicating with?
Lieutenant Giasio.
And which color of the bubbles are you communicating on?
Gray.
And this is Friday, October 25th. Well, tell me the date. What does it say?
It says Friday, October 25th.
Okay. And what's the significance of that?
That's the date of Juliana's proffer.
Okay. Your Honor, I'll hold off and
All right.
move that.
That's
This is 102.
ID is 102.
So sir, do you recall this message that's before you?
Yes, sir.
And was that a message that you participated in?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you in the gray?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, this would be identified as Defense Exhibit 103.
All right. 103, identified.
Now, sir, in your communication, you reference someone else in the fourth grade communication down. Who is that person?
That's Director Fayez.
And Director Sally Fayez?
Correct.
Okay. Your Honor, it's identified
It's
as
identified as 103.
103.
Yep. You got it.
Sir, can you see the message before you?
I do.
Is that a message that you were participating in?
Yes, sir. I'm again in the gray.
Okay. And the second box, those are your words?
Yes, sir.
And these are your words?
Yes, sir.
And do you know who you were speaking with?
Lieutenant Giasio.
Okay. Your Honor, I identify that as 104 and we'll move in for.
All right, identified as 104.
Sir, this is Defense Exhibit 105. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
And are those your words?
Yes, sir.
And who are you speaking with?
Lieutenant Giasio.
Your Honor, identify and move to be admitted at a later time.
Okay, just right now it's identified as 105.
Sir, I'm going to identify this as Defense Exhibit 106. Do you recognize that communication?
I do not.
Are you not a participant in this?
I don't know if I am. I can't tell.
Okay. Your Honor, identified as 106.
Identified as 106.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to identify what will be marked as Defense Exhibit 107. Are you involved in that message?
I don't believe I am because I'm referenced in the third person. So if you see the second gray box down, it wasn't for your leadership and Bruce believing in you. I don't refer to myself in the third person.
Okay, but you don't remember it if in fact you were included in this?
I don't recall.
Okay. Your Honor, I move that, I would identify it as
Identified as
107.
107.
So those messages appear to be quite frequent and with the same group of people. Is that correct?
I guess.
I mean, would that be your, a group that you rely on for discussion about the case?
Let me go check my, did you put, where'd you send it?
Certainly people I was in text communications with.
Okay.
Roscoe.
And the text communications that we know from what we just saw were what you told us, Lieutenant Giasio and Sally Fayez, Director of Victim Services, correct?
But there was definitely other ones where you had group people on there as well.
Right, but we didn't identify them.
I think there was one line that said Dan Spital in there as well.
Okay, was he part of your command staff?
Yes, he was.
Okay, and were there anybody else that you saw in there?
I believe Tom Harrington was on one of those
Was
threads.
he part of your command staff?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and anybody else that you saw there?
I don't recall. I'd have to go through those again.
Okay. You're on court's indulgence.
All right, yes, sir.
Sir, in terms of your command structure, who is below you
As in, how would it
within
appear?
homicide? Yes.
My command structure would have been myself to Major Spital. Then underneath him would have been Captain Harrington, Captain Bobel. Let me clarify. I assume you're talking in this 2024 timeframe.
Yes.
Yes. And then the direct report to Major Spital, I think by the way the diagram was, as I best recall, would have been Director Fayez.
And so Director Fayez had a direct report, Major Spital had a direct report,
Yes, I was his direct report.
and is that something that's put into the structure that was set up?
Could you clarify what you're asking?
Well, are you the one who's asking for the direct reports, or is it just based upon their position that they're?
It's based upon their position.
Okay. Was Lieutenant Giasio ever a direct report?
He would have then been underneath, the way it was structured, Captain Bobel.
Okay. Was there ever any concern by the people in your command staff regarding Lieutenant Giasio directly reporting to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was that an issue that you had to deal with?
It wasn't an issue for me.
Okay. Well, in a command structure such as yours, who would Lieutenant Giasio have to go to if he wasn't a direct report?
I think I'd like to be careful about the word have to. It's a command structure. So there is a hierarchy, and I would be at the top of that hierarchy.
Okay. And would you be the person who would give him permission to bypass the others to get to you?
I could.
Okay. In this case, specifically this case, did you tell him to come directly to you and bypass the others?
I did not tell him to bypass the others, but it was known that he would be reporting directly to me.
Okay. So you gave him that assignment, and then he just took it from there without talking to the others?
I actually spoke to the others. They were part of my command team.
Okay. So you then disseminated whatever he said to you directly?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you came into your position as deputy chief, what, were you told to clean up the homicide division?
No, sir.
Did you in turn tell anybody to clean up the homicide division?
No, sir.
Were you aware of anybody saying that they were here to clean up the homicide division?
Objection as to relevance.
Overruled, you can answer.
No, sir.
Judge, I don't have any further questions.
All right, cross-examination.
I mean, this sounds pretty sketchy.
Good afternoon.
This sounds like a pretty sketchy organization. So yeah. I'm just saying it sounds really bad. Yes, hi Max. Yes, the Black Bailiff has a Somali style dome. That is a big head. We stopped that perfectly timed for that. But yeah, it's pointless, but they're just trying to show that this, I don't think okay, we get it. They're crooked, but I don't see enough that this was a viable theory. It's just it sounds like the guy had a wrong theory and they were like, listen, Bob, your theory's really fucking wrong. Quit bringing it up or we're going to transfer you. And they're like, look, he's too stupid to not think about this. So they got rid of him. Kind of what it sounds like to me if I had to guess. If I had to guess what happened there. I mean, that's, at least to me, that's what it looks like. They're like, Bob, stop doing it. You're being an idiot. You're embarrassing us. No more. And he's like, but guys. And they're like, no one wants to hear your shitty theory anymore. So, yeah, I didn't hear anything groundbreaking either. But they, this is people on Twitter were like, oh my God, it's a bombshell. I'm like, that's a mouse fart. Sweet Tooth Fairy with the N. I've never seen you start one of these, but that a girl. Yeah, but anyways, let's see here.
So are we to understand that your involvement in the Banfield investigation was as a supervisor only?
As a commander, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you did not collect any evidence in this case?
That's correct. I did not collect any evidence in this case.
Did you direct that any evidence be ignored?
No, ma'am.
You spoke about Brendan Miller and your concerns about his work. You specifically made the statement that he had unsubstantiated deductions. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Was one of those unsubstantiated deductions recorded in his executive summary that Christine Banfield was the operator of her devices when interacting with the FetLife account?
That's correct.
Okay. And was it that type of unsubstantiated deduction that caused you concern?
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, at this point,
Did you do anything to change his report?
I mean, at this point, I'm sure something sketchy happened, but I don't think there's enough to acquit this guy. There's no reasonable, like, they're not introducing enough reasonable doubt here for me. The defense is not making it happen here.
Never.
And did you do anything to change the evidence that he had collected that he believed substantiated his report?
Never.
Okay. Judge, I don't have any further questions. Witness.
Redirect? I'm sorry, could you?
I had one other exhibit that I neglected to introduce.
Do you have any objection to him? Just, he has one more.
No, you're
text
asking
message.
questions, certainly not.
That's fine. Okay, go ahead. It would be 108, Mr. Carroll.
108, yes. Let me just, I'll do my cross and
Okay.
or my
Redirect.
Mr. Bruce, the word unsubstantiated can be a difference of opinion in digital forensics, correct?
I guess it would depend on how it applies.
And your statement that it's unsubstantiated was in conflict with your digital forensics expert statement that she was in control of her devices on the FetLife communications, correct?
I don't know that I agree with part of that statement.
Okay, which part?
So there was a conclusion that Christine Banfield was always in the possession of her devices. The crime scene definitively
Relating
demonstrates
to
that to
FetLife,
be
which is what she
incorrect.
asked. The question was relating to FetLife.
So could you repeat the question?
So you may go all the way back to the difference between unsubstantiated and what?
No, the part where you're bridging unsubstantiated with the FetLife.
Yeah, that was the
Okay.
question that you were asked by Ms. Sands. And so what I'm asking is, you've indicated that it was unsubstantiated. I'm assuming as to the question as to the FetLife communications, correct?
That's what Ms. Sands asked me, correct?
Yes. And so I think your answer was you were talking about generally the statement in his executive summary that she had not relinquished any of her devices. Is that what you were talking about?
Well, those are two different things. I answered Ms. Sands' question, which would be that, yes, his deduction that Christine Banfield was communicating with Joe Ryan was not only actually unsubstantiated, it was wrong.
Well, so what did you look at to reach the conclusion that it was unsubstantiated? What digital forensics did you look at?
So going back to my education and being a master's in computer forensics, you never attribute a device and or a username to a person.
Okay, and is that what you're relying on to make that point?
With regards to Ms. Sands' question, yes.
So that's not supported by any review of the items that were extracted from the 60 different devices that he did?
Well, by happenstance, it is unsubstantiated. Unless Detective Miller was sitting next to Anastasia or Taco Supreme, he could never attribute whomever was talking on those devices.
And so what your position is that you're not going to believe that you can conclude someone's control of the devices unless you have a video or you have someone who is watching it?
It just would be forensically incorrect to make that conclusion.
But digital forensics makes that conclusion.
Objection, counsel's arguing.
Sustain that objection.
Sir, I'm going to show you what will be marked as Defense Exhibit 108. You recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And do you recall the date?
I believe that's going to be October 25th. Is that correct?
Yes. It doesn't say, but if you recall it that way, that's
That's consistent with my communication with Lieutenant Giasio on the date of the proffer.
okay. And is it your understanding that he was in a separate room outside of the proffer? And you were communicating with him?
I wasn't on site. I don't feel comfortable answering that question.
You don't know personally?
I don't.
Okay. But it was while it was going on, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And is this the communication with Lieutenant Giasio?
This was my communication, as I recall, with Lieutenant Giasio.
Your Honor, Defense Exhibit 108 will ID it.
It's identified as 108.
Were you also involved in the transfer of Kyle Bryant, the lead detective?
Yes, sir.
And was that due to his performance?
Performance due to inexperience, as well as the phrase I would use, I believe he was in over his head as a homicide detective.
Okay. And so Miller, so from the group that was in place in October, Detective Brendan Miller was transferred.
He was transferred, I believe, in November.
Okay. Okay. And then Detective Bryant, who was the lead homicide detective in this case, was transferred.
He was transferred in January of 2025.
And that was as a result of your deciding he had to go?
I just didn't believe he was experienced for the homicide squad.
So you transferred?
He was transferred to the sex crimes unit.
Okay. And
Because that's so much.
in that same time frame,
He's
you were transferred, correct?
I was transferred.
He's so inexperienced. We don't want him handling murders. We'll just let him handle rapes. That's going to be a better fit for him. Jeez. Oof.
in February of 2025.
That's not good, chat.
And Lieutenant Giasio was transferred
Correct.
during the same time frame?
Right around that same time frame.
Okay. I don't have any further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Based on Exhibit 108, did you have any questions? Since that was a new,
No, but it was not offered into evidence yet.
no, it's just
so-
ID'd.
Yes.
Okay. Is this witness subject to recall?
Not by the Commonwealth.
No, are you free to go then?
Thank you.
All right, your next witness. Giasio.
Yeah, so once again, we learned that the county police suck. But that's it. So, I mean, I guess that's good to know, but I presume they were a bunch
Don't please state your
dickheads
name
anyway.
and spell your
I presume they were a bunch of dickheads to start with.
name for the court reporter.
Lieutenant David Giasio, Giaccio,
And where are you currently stationed?
the Sully District Station,
Okay. And where were you prior to the Sully District Station?
the homicide unit.
Okay. And you were lieutenant there?
Yes,
Was that under, at one point, Deputy Chief Roosh?
yes.
Or actually, during the entire time you were there was under?
During the entirety of the time I was here.
Because he transferred as well, correct?
I'm sorry.
Because he had transferred around the same time you did.
Yeah, I think about a month before I arrived, he was there.
Okay. I am going to ask you to identify what has been marked and introduced as Defense Exhibit 88.
It's just been marked, not introduced. But
Oh, sorry. I thought 88 was.
88 is, you're right, 88 is evidence.
Do you recognize that?
It's an email.
Okay. And what's your role in this email?
Without context, it's hard to say. I think it has to do with an executive summary that I was having Detective Miller review.
Okay, so is that the executive summary right there? Was that the attachment?
I believe so.
Okay. Well, during that time frame, perhaps you can recall, during the time frame of November 8th, were you communicating with Sergeant Brian Ames then?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and you were communicating about the digital forensic executive summary?
That's correct.
Okay. Your Honor, I think that's in evidence.
That's in
Can we
evidence.
publish that? Is that already?
It's already been published. If it's in evidence, we publish it.
Sir, I'm going to have you look at what has been marked as and moved into evidence as number 89. Does that give you more context in identifying it?
Yes, I believe this was after the co-defendant in this case came in for a proffer. And those attachments or links, I guess would be the better term, at the bottom are links to the attachment or to the body worn camera that was used to record that proffer. There were two parts.
Okay, and in this instance, you went to Ryan Ames with the two proffers, correct?
That's correct.
And was there a phone call that went along this? Where did he get his direction from?
I don't recall. I think we talked, I don't remember if it was a phone.
They said ethics-based reasons. Yes, but you're right, Sweet Tooth. This is a good catch. This is the Brady cop. the cop who's on the Brady list. So you'd think that most police departments just fucking fire people, but they don't apparently. They promote them. I don't know what he did, but they said it was ethics related, so probably still lying.
Call or an in-person
I'm sure that that'll probably get discussed here at some point.
conversation. But after the proffer, we had a conversation about some of the forensic reports and the need to revisit
No,
them.
he has no
Okay.
comment.
And the need to change them, correct?
No, sir.
He's being impartial.
Okay. Was there an attempt to update, sorry, I'll leave that there so you can see it. Was there an attempt to update the digital forensics based on the proffers that you sent?
So we had a meeting, I think it was after these emails, there was a meeting set up with Sergeant Ames and the two Brendan Millers. Names are slightly different, but they work in the same unit, to go over the basically all the digital forensics and to understand why they came to certain conclusions previously and understand how the evidence was correctly, how it would have been correctly analyzed.
Okay, and that was entirely based upon the proffer of Juliana Perez Magalhães?
I think it was partially based on it. I think there was some question about the analysis from the leadership, both me and above me, prior to that.
Are you talking about Deputy Chief Bruce?
Yeah, he would be one of the people, yes.
Okay, and so, well, I guess, so what you're saying is that you analyzed the digital forensics and you arrived at a different conclusion than your expert?
So I reviewed the data, and I think the data is what the data is. I think the context and how you analyze what it may mean is different.
Okay, and so you were looking at the more the conclusions?
I would say the logic used to arrive at certain conclusions.
Okay, and this is with Brendan Miller's report,
Correct.
the executive summary.
That's one of them. Yeah.
And did you ever talk to Brendan Miller and have him show his work?
Yes,
How many times did you do that?
several.
Okay, and when you were doing that, were you trying to get him to change?
Not the data, the analysis.
Okay.
And I wouldn't say change. I would say to understand what I was seeing.
Are you aware of this email?
What number is this?
This is actually, sorry, 90.
90,
It's
it
been
is, yeah.
introduced, yes.
Thank you.
I'm not aware of this email now.
Okay. I think it might have been the day before.
Well, yeah, some of it, obviously, the one I sent, I'm aware of. The one at the top, I assume is what you were speaking about. I'm not aware of that one.
Okay. And is it accurate in terms of how he characterizes it?
Judge, the witness just indicated he's not aware of the document.
He's aware of the bottom part, I think is what he said. So if you want to direct your questions to that.
Well, I think I can ask him questions, Judge, about whether the body of it is accurate, whether it's being communicated properly.
What, if he recognizes it? He said he didn't recognize it, so I'll sustain that objection.
Do you recognize the content of what's being sent?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
The body of.
I mean, I can read it. If that's what you're, I can read it and
Does
understand.
that sound like what you said to him?
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
Okay. Sir, I'm going to ask you to identify what has been, or look at what has been identified as Defense Exhibit 90.
No,
Nope.
Oh, sorry,
this-
91.
This is 91, which is
Yes,
not in
91,
evidence.
Sorry. So I'd be most interested in you looking at this area down here. Is that something that you created?
I wrote that email, yes.
Okay. And you want to move this in as Defense Exhibit 91?
Any objection?
I can have the court's indulgence for 1
Yes,
second.
ma'am.
No objection.
All right, 91 in evidence. Publish it, or it goes away.
Now, I'm going to go through a series of communications where it's multiple people. And so what I'm going to ask you is whether or not you recognize the communication and whether you're involved in the communication.
Okay.
Okay? So this would be exhibit number 92. You see that?
Yes.
And does that look like the communication that you were involved with?
Yes, I believe the blue bubbles are mine.
Okay. We still don't have the third person, so I'm just going to identify that, Judge.
That's still 92.
92. Sir, do you recognize that text message chain?
I do.
And are you involved in that?
That's my, in blue as well.
I'm sorry, in the blue?
The blue is my text, yes.
Thank you. Do you recognize that message? That would be Exhibit 93.
It's exhibit 94.
This is 94.
94. I apologize, Judge. 94.
Yes,
Okay, and that's a communication that you remember?
I do.
And it looks as though it's Patrick Bruce is one. Who's the other one?
Sally Fayez?
Okay, and Sally Fayez is, what's her position within?
She's the director of the Victim Services Department. or
Okay.
unit.
Is she are you a direct report for her?
Or, I'm not sure what you're,
Am I speaking in, is she or do you directly report to her?
no, I never have.
Okay. Who did you directly report to while you were in homicide?
Well, I had, I guess, Captain John Bobel, Major Dan Spital, and Deputy Chief Patrick Bruce.
Okay. Did you have any privilege to report directly to Patrick Bruce when he was deputy chief?
For the purposes of this case, he was my primary report.
Okay, so it would just be the two of you communicating, much like these messages?
I mean, so the other commanders were a part of it, but he was the primary person that I reported to.
So I'm going to ask you to identify if you are involved in this, if you are involved in this, which is a Defense Exhibit 96, 95.
95.
Yes, I believe that's my text in blue as well.
Okay. And do you remember this day?
I believe that was the day after the arrest of the defendant.
Okay. Thank you. Sir, do you recognize this has been identified as Defense Exhibit 96?
97? We're on 96. No, it's 95.
96. Do you recognize that?
I do.
And that's just a direct message between you and Patrick Bruce?
That's correct.
Okay. And do you remember the context of it based on looking at it?
That was on the eve of the preliminary hearing for the co-defendant.
Your Honor, I'd move this in as Defense Exhibit 96.
Any objection?
No objection.
96 in evidence can be published.
So you're in blue again, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and Big Day, you're speaking of what you just said, which is the preliminary hearing?
Correct.
Okay, and you reference Klingon? Are you
Yes.
talking about Eric Klingon, the prosecutor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, he was the prosecutor on this case back then, correct?
Yes, he was.
And what just describe for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what's the communication about?
Your Honor, if counsel is asking the witness to read it, I would object. It has not yet been moved into evidence.
He asked him what it's about, so I'll overrule the objection.
You can go ahead and answer.
It's about being nervous for the preliminary hearing.
Okay, and that's between you and Deputy Chief Bruce?
Correct.
Okay, were you directly involved in the preliminary hearing that day?
No.
Okay, and was that the day of the hearing?
I believe it's the evening before, or, yeah, the evening before.
Okay, the preliminary hearing was on April 1st?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and were you involved in the preparation? Is that why you're privy to that?
Well, I was the supervisor. Oh, closer up. Sorry, sounds loud to me. I'm sorry, can you repeat the question, sir?
Were you directly involved with the preparation for the preliminary hearing?
Yeah, I mean, I was the supervisor of the homicide unit.
Okay, but you didn't have any investigatory role in this?
No, in this case, I wasn't involved in any interviews. I didn't collect any evidence. I simply oversaw the investigation starting in, I think, early March 2024, so about 13 months after the murder.
Okay, is it customary for lieutenants not to be involved in any of those things?
At the time, I was a sergeant, but yeah, I think that's fairly normal. The detectives do the investigating, the supervisor oversees it.
Would there be any other reasons why you couldn't prepare for the hearing?
No.
Were you on the Brady list at that time?
Objection is to relevance.
Overruled.
I'm not aware that anybody keeps a Brady list, but the Commonwealth has told me that they make certain disclosures about an investigation where I allowed an employee who had a brain tumor to stay home on light duty at the direction of commander.
I don't know about any of that, but I did something. It sounds like it was all done off the books and it was unethical. I don't know about any of that, but I did some unethical shit. Wow. Look at this scumbag. Look at this scumbag. And you get promoted for it.
And where I allowed an employee who had a brain tumor to stay home on light duty at the direction of commander.
Okay. And so that was one instance when you were put on the Brady list. Have you been put on the Brady list on other occasions?
No.
Objection is to relevance.
Overruled, he answered no.
And the Brady list, essentially, well, you tell me, what is the Brady list?
Well, like I said, I don't think there's a Brady list, but the Commonwealth makes disclosures based on opinions that they form about a case.
And the underlying finding is truthfulness, correct?
No.
No, it's not. Wow. What is it about then, officer?
Now, there's comment in here about catfishing.
This son of a bitch.
Was that a concern on March 30th,
Yeah.
2024?
That's government
Amongst
work
and
for you.
Deputy Chief Bruce?
Was catfishing?
There's a comment here. I'm just trying to get the context of that.
So based on the evidence, I think that after I reviewed it, it was about a month in, I believe that it was overwhelming that this was a catfish. I think the term has been used kind of across the board now. That was set up by the defendant, yes.
Okay. And after doing 1 month's worth of work and as a lieutenant, you were able to arrive at that conclusion?
I was a sergeant at the time, but yes.
Okay. And describe for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what were your digital forensics qualifications in order to arrive at that conclusion?
Well, I reviewed sort of the evidence that was provided to me by the digital forensics people. For instance, the accounts were created in January. They had never, they were brand new accounts. That was unusual to me. We reviewed Christine's history. I think it went back to the mid 2000s. She had never so much as visited a porn site that we could find. So I thought that was.
I guess my question was about the digital forensics.
Well, I think reviewing her digital footprint, there was no evidence of that. There were 2 occasions where the co-defendants were out of town for 48 to 36 hours, and none of the accounts, the CB 920 at Gmail wasn't used, the FetLife account wasn't used, the Telegram account wasn't used. It seemed unusual to me that that wouldn't happen while they were out of the house.
If I can, let me just redirect you back to digital forensics.
Well, this is all part of the digital evidence, right? So.
Not your opinion as to whether or not it's unusual if they're in or out of town.
Just want you ask your next question.
Yes. In terms of catfishing, that was a theory that you were pushing, correct?
That I was
pushing.
It's what I believe the evidence overwhelmingly supported, yes.
And you then attempted to educate the homicide detectives.
Objection, leading.
All right, I was saying this lead.
What, if anything, did you do with the homicide detectives in order to convince them of your theory?
We reviewed the evidence many times between March and September. However, it wasn't until the co-defendant came into proffer that everybody was in agreement that the catfish was the actual correct.
Okay, so once again, it was the co-defendant, not the digital forensics, that caused that conclusion, correct?
That's not my opinion, no.
Okay. Okay. I don't have any further questions on that. Sir, I'm going to have you look at what will be marked as 98, Defense Exhibit 97.
No.
It's 97.
It's 97.
It's 97, correct.
You see that, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And in that, this is between you and Deputy Chief Bruce, is that right?
It is.
Okay. And there's some concern about losing the probable cause hearing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So question for, Your Honor, I'd move that into evidence.
All right, any objection 97?
Yes, Judge, our previous witness,
Not specifically, but I'm sure that their disciplinary history, if it's part of a thing, does become known. So kinda, but not like in the same way where states will have Brady lists.
did not identify that as his information, so it stands as hearsay.
Kind of a follow-on of 96, it just keeps going down, so I'll
I can-
rule the objection on
thank you.
97 in evidence.
Is this communication with Patrick Bruce?
It is.
Okay. And in here, there's discussion about the prosecutor's plan, correct?
Yes.
And are you in the blue or the gray?
Blue.
Okay. And there's something about a fail-safe that's been put in place. What's that?
We had evidence that the co-defendant may have misrepresented things on her visa application. And I think Customs and Border Protection had planned to investigate that and potentially arrest her for it.
Okay, so if the preliminary hearing didn't go well, you wanted to get a hold of her immediately afterwards.
Correct.
So if the preliminary hearing hadn't gone well, just for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the case would have been dismissed.
Correct.
And then she would have been released.
Judge, counsel's testifying.
Stays the meeting.
So what would have happened if the preliminary hearing had been dismissed?
The co-defendant would be released.
And so the fail-safe was to have Customs and Border Patrol there to grab her?
Correct.
Oh, that's
To come to
dirty
the jail
bull,
before she's
cat.
released.
I think they were planning on getting arrest warrants. I'm not
Oh.
fully read into what their plan was.
And we're,
This is good timing because Fairfax County is a blue county. Bringing all this ICE shit up is perfect timing. People are gonna fucking hate that. This is good. This is good. Nasty, nasty tactics. You know that, like, this is a battle we are trying to win. As Johnny Cochran said, we didn't play the race card, we played the whole fucking deck. It's all in the game, man. It's all in the game. And if you can win by that, then you win by that. There's facts and there's a law. There's so much more to what we're dealing with that becomes critically important to address. There's a lot going on, guys. There's a lot going on. So this idea, everything's fair game. Everything is fair game, and it has to be fair game. That's how it rolls, man. That's how it rolls. So, anybody who tells you it's not, yes, that's very correct. Yes, there's a problem here. Is both sides want to win, and that's true. Hell Raising Ale says other chat houses a win for the prosecution. I don't know how, especially given what's going on right now in Minneapolis and you're doing this at a blue as fuck county, one of the bluest counties of Virginia. This is it looks bad. They're manipulating this woman's freedom to extort an answer out of her. I don't see how this is a good thing. I don't see how this is a good thing. I mean, this guy is a dirty fucking cop, and he thought all these things were great ideas. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to believe everything else, but these guys sound like massive pieces of shit. And it's like, at that point, do you really want to convict or do you want to punish them for being fucking shitbags? I mean, that's kind of where I think you are. So, yeah, it's dirty as fuck. It's interesting, though. Well, let's keep going here, guys.
was this a plan between you and then Deputy Chief Bruce, or was this a plan amongst everyone involved?
It was the detectives on the task force that was created that set it up.
Okay, and so who else would have known about the failsafe?
Detective Bryant, Detective Goodell, and Detective Smith, I think, was still pretty well involved at that point.
Was Detective Bryant the chief detective at that time?
He was the lead detective, yes.
Okay, and Detective Goodell was another co-lead detective?
Correct.
And was Detective Smith a lead detective, or she?
Yeah, so essentially when I arrived, Detective Bryant had been the lead for the first year or so. I think at some point prior to my arrival, Detective Smith had been assigned to help him.
I understand that, but this is something that fell into their lap. There's no way these people aren't going to be fired up about that. And also, it looks real sketchy and shitty for the police to do that. So it's going to help them anyway.
And then once I got there, I assigned Detective Goodell. So there was 3 detectives plus myself that were reviewing all the evidence.
Okay. Okay, did you say in a prior statement that as a lieutenant, you wouldn't review all the evidence?
No, I would absolutely review the evidence. I wouldn't take part directly in the investigation. I didn't interview witness, collect evidence, or have any real direct involvement, just in reviewing and advocating for investigative leads.
And Your Honor, I'm sorry, 97 was moved into evidence?
97 is in
Okay,
evidence.
and that's, the jury has been published. Okay, thank you. Sir, can you see that communication?
Yes,
Is that the communication with Patrick Bruce?
yes,
And this is from November 8th, correct?
yes,
Okay, do you recognize this?
I do.
And you're in blue?
Correct.
You're going to move this in as Commonwealth's Exhibit number 98?
Judge, I'll renew the objection that former Deputy Chief Bruce could not identify this item.
On this one, he could not identify.
I think the witness just identified him.
Correct, but the witness indicates based on the document
I'm going to
itself.
sustain the objection since he testified that he did not recall it. So sustain the objection.
Okay. Sir, in the blue box, you indicate that you did something. What is that?
I used the words markup. Or took a red pen. What I did was highlight in red
Okay.
on a document.
And did you actually take a pen?
No, it was the red. I changed the font to red rather than black.
Okay. And the document that you were referring to there, what document was that?
It was the executive summary prepared by Detective Miller.
Okay. Your Honor, may we approach on 98?
Sure.
Your Honor, if I may, I also had 106.
I had 106. I put that on his.
Okay, and 107. Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Sir, do you identify what's been marked as Defense Exhibit 100?
Yes, it's a text message.
And that's between you and Patrick Bruce?
It is.
Are you in the blue box or the gray box?
Blue.
Okay, Your Honor, I'd move that into evidence. as
No objection.
Commonwealth's
100 in
Exhibit
evidence.
100.
And we'll publish.
So what, if anything, did you do when you were told to hold off on bringing Klingon and Kelsey to the loop?
I don't remember specifically, but I would imagine I held off on giving them a call.
Okay, and who, for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, who's Klingon and who's Kelsey?
They were the prosecutors assigned at the time.
Okay, and do you recall when it was that you put them in the loop after this statement?
I'm sure within 24 hours. I don't recall
Or do you
exactly.
have any recollection?
No, I don't recall, but it was definitely not for any extended period of time.
Okay, and this looks like it was something that might jog your memory. It was relating to Celebrite Task Force. Do you have any recollection when it was that you would have told the prosecutors in this case, whatever the conclusion was?
Judge, I think that's a mischaracterization of the evidence.
If you want to rephrase your question.
Was the information that you're holding off on relating to the task force meeting at Celebrite?
I believe it was the blood inside Juliana's shoes and Brendan's pants.
Okay, and so how long did it take for you to communicate that to the prosecution team?
Like I said, I don't remember exactly, but it would be something that I would bring them up to speed on within a short period.
Okay, but you don't remember if you did?
I'm sorry?
But you don't remember if you did?
I certainly remember that they're aware of it. I just don't know exactly what that time frame was,
Okay.
but I would guess within 24 hours.
Thank you.
Mr. Carroll, would this be a good time to go ahead and take our lunch break?
Yes, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and take our lunch break for an hour. Please do not discuss the case with anybody, nor do any outside research, okay?
All right, chat. That is it for now. We got about halfway through the day. Dark Horse 24 is a new member. Thank you for joining up and praying the gray away, getting rid of it here. We appreciate that so very much. Fast forward. Well, guys, we got to get ready for the show. And, you know, if we skip ahead to, we'll just go to here. You know, we're at 4 hours and 49 minutes. You know, we have like basically, you know, we have about 3.5 hours left of today, but we got to get stuff done. So we're not gonna finish it up tonight. We'll work on it. We'll get caught up with this over the weekend because tomorrow, God, there's so much shit we're gonna have to cover tomorrow. I don't know. Man, there's so many things to cover tomorrow. Like Aaron Spencer's going to be a huge one. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, guys. There's just so much going on. It's the problem with these trials sometimes. You get stuck in them and you want to keep finishing them, but then like everything falls off the world all at once. We got to figure these out. We got to figure out what's going on here. So, yes, I have too much content right now to cover. I mean, like, we could do 2 shows a day for the next week and we'd probably get caught up. Yes, I'm like Darkside Film, just juggling too much stuff. So, all right, guys. So with that said, we're going to take the break here. I think we're all set for setting you guys over to... let me make sure here. Sending you guys over. I thought Spencer wasn't going to be streamed. Well, they've made some motions to disqualify the judge. They made some motions to brought up the fact that the judge has done that. There's a lot of problems that have happened here. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, guys. So there's a lot going on. So I'm just saying it's there's a lot going on there, and the Supreme Court of Arkansas was like, we need to figure this out fast. So it's not as simple as you think, guys. Shit is going off the rails down in Arkansas. So he might go to trial on Monday, but he might not. And, you know, the judge pulling the crap she pulled, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. So are we going to get Laney in the next stream for the trifecta? I don't know. And maybe we will. I'll have to talk to 2.0. What is this we business? We. Oh, yeah, with a triple header today, yes. Johan says I'm building you something. That makes me very nervous. Okay. But anyways, chat, I'm going to see you guys very shortly, and I will see you over on the Thursday night show. Got a lot to talk about. Got some very serious stuff, then we have a couple of funny things, but the serious stuff is serious stuff we need to address. So we're going to get to that, chat. And in the meantime, guys, you know, until next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. I still think, you know, we're dealing with a pretty guilty dude, though. I think Brendan Banfield did it. I mean, I'm pretty sure he did it. So, but, you know, these cops are guilty of being scumbags, so. Are we going to do locals tonight? I don't think we're going to do locals tonight. I'm going to be kind of beat here. We'll see, though. If I can power through it, maybe. I don't know, though. We got to get through this stuff. Was there a Bonbon sighting? Yeah, go all the way back to the beginning. There was a big Bonbon sighting. Yeah. She's here for the weekend, so. All right, chat. Good night. I'll see you guys in a couple minutes. Take care, everybody.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. But please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fact